This is going to be another look at some Lions offense film from 2022. Their run game was pretty diverse, if you ask me. I know they were heavily reliant in some cases on the play action pass. It's a relative strength of Jared Goff. I think that's been covered by a lot of people. This entire offense, if you ask me, is pretty diverse. I want to focus in here on what I think is a pretty cool wrinkle in their run game. When I say it's unusual or a wrinkle, in the NFL, in high-level college football, you're not necessarily seeing people run Jill ISO a lot. We would call Jill ISO in the old days, where you would have a tight end and a slot to the same side. Now they're kind of not aligned in the way that we would do. We wouldn't give it away. When you line up the slot or the receiver inside the tight end, so between the tight end and the tackle, you're kind of telling everybody what's up. But in any case, Jill ISO call would be big on big, like tight end on a D end or an outside linebacker, and then the slot taking the nickel safety, who in this case is Gardner Johnson, who's actually going to be on the Lions in 2023. The opposite of that, a jack call, would be the tight end moving up to the safety, and then the slot trying to dig out the D end. So the Jill is the aspect that I'm seeing the Lions use more often, at least in terms of the blocking scheme. The first example that I used, the tight end digging out, basing out the D end or outside linebacker, and the slot inserting inside of the C gap. Sometimes it's B gap if there's no tight end there. But in the Lions' case, they're often using AMON-RA St. Brown as the lead blocker out of 11 personnel. Now, it's not him on this particular play. I'm going to break these down. Plays are going to run again. I'm going to break them down individually. It says a lot, if you ask me, about the expectation level of the Lions' entire staff, offensive staff, Ben Johnson on down, but Dan Campbell as well. You can be a 90-catch wide receiver like Amon-Ra St. Brown, and we're going to expect you to lead block inside the tight end, often against a nickel DB, but it could be a linebacker. I've explained the jack versus Jill call. It's normally a front side block, at least in my experience. This play here, it's designed to be a cutback to our right-hand side of the screen. The Lions' offense is right. And again, I'll break it down in a moment when we come back to it. This is generally focusing on film from weeks 1 to 4 because that's the part of the season where I feel pretty confident in breaking it down into formations or play concepts, which I've put out about 4 videos already, trying to be as detailed as possible. I'll move through the season probably by the end of July up through week 14 or 15 before we start really getting film that you can look at either from practice or preseason once it starts. But in any case, let's get to some of the film and let you guys take a look at it. We're going to rewind these plays. This first one is 11 personnel bunch. I kind of talked about it before. Bunch is 3 receivers tightly aligned to the right. Kind of sets itself up. It's under center. Of course, some of these are plays where Jared Goff could check to the run concept, and I think that's the thing that says a lot about Amon-Ra St. Brown. You could have a pass play called. You could have a separate type of run play called, and as Amon-Ra St. Brown, you're sitting there thinking about your assignment, how to execute it, and then Jared Goff audibles to this Jill ISO play where you're expected to go block, in this case, the nickel safety, Gardner Johnson. Like I said, some cases it could be an inside linebacker. Inserting between the tight end of the tackle. Again, it's a clear indicator when he lines up here that this is the play that's coming. It's not always like this, and in fact, I think 2 of the examples you'll see in this video are going to be more typical where you're not giving it away. But what are they doing conceptually? They're forcing DBs to tackle, forcing safeties to tackle. In some cases, like this one coming up, forcing corners to tackle. This is pro twin, so your pro side is the Z and the tight end on the same side. Twins is down here. And what are they eliciting from the defense? They're getting the nickel defender and a corner and the third safety in the nickel, personnel look by the Eagles to line up to the twin side. So up to the top side, somewhat more typical if you ask me, in that the ball was snapped while the receiver is outside of the tight end. And you can see the base block by the tight end, trying to expand or at least hold that outside linebacker D end out. And then the insert into the C gap by the safety, going to get the front side strong safety. Combo block by the right tackle, right guard, trying to work up to the front side inside linebacker to seal him off, force that corner to make the tackle. In this case, he does. When you get the end zone angle, I think you'll get a really nice view of how it works out. Doesn't matter who the tight end is on the field. Ben Johnson expects him to be able to do this, and there you can see the receiver working his way inside to go get the safety, setting up, again, this nice little seam, this wall, to be able to run off of the down block or combo between the right guard and right tackle, and then the Z, or wide receiver, in this case, going through C gap, inserting inside the C gap to go get the front side safety. All right, third one against the Eagles again. 11 personnel is Trey Wright. So it's probably my favorite, to be honest with you. It's another under center example. You could have a jack or a Jill call to accomplish this, but what I really like is, again, most of the time I talked about it being a front side play. So tight end going to get the D end or outside linebacker, the wide receiver inserting inside to go get either the front side inside backer or the nickel safety, which has been most of the case, been the example in most of these plays. But this is actually a backside play. This is designed to be a cutback. Some people call it a wind back. Same blocking scheme, trying to keep the D end away from running down the line to make the play. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown going to go get this nickel, just like I drew it up a minute ago and like I've drawn it up a couple times, except it's designed to be a backside blocking scheme, essentially a fold blocking scheme on the backside. And again, you're getting the running back through to the third level pretty much untouched. It's very intentional, very well executed, if you ask me, by the entire offensive line. Of course, when you have a right tackle like the Lions have, you can cut people off no matter who they are, whether they're a 3 technique or a 4-eye. But you can see the cutoff blocks here. That's a difficult matchup for any tight end dealing with that D end for the Eagles. But they get what they wanted. They get a cutback lane out of 11 personnel. Against Washington, there's a pull with the backside right tackle. Again, it's Sewell, but you're going to get the same motion by Amon-Ra St. Brown. Base, essentially, by the tight end with some slight variation. Lead up by the slot, or in this case, the Z, and then a pull. Kind of works out like power in some cases, but you're not kicking out the defensive end. You're just basing him out with the tight end. Again, I think it speaks to what they expect football players to be able to do on offense. If they're asking Amon-Ra St. Brown to come in here and do this. Now, this is a 5-1 look by Washington, meaning you got 5 guys with their hand in the dirt, so 5 guys in 3-point stances, 1 inside linebacker. So you've presumably got a nickel defender here inserted into the box, lined up to the tight end side. Amon-Ra St. Brown goes and gets him. You can see the hole that's opened up. It's not really necessarily taken advantage of in terms of being a 6, 7, 8 yard gain, but I don't think that's the idea all the time in the Lions offense, nor is it the idea in every single offense across the NFL and college football spectrum. Same as the first play that I showed you against the Eagles, wide receiver. I don't know this guy's name, to be honest with you, but he's in between the tight end and the left tackle. Boy Mafe kind of shows you how strong he is when you get the end zone angle. You'll see it. He's one of my favorite rookies that was extremely underrated last year. Same concept here. Going to try to base him out with the tight end. It's still going to be a great game, but look at the violence that Boy Mafe takes on the tight end with and just knocks him back. Runs down the line of scrimmage. I mean, just totally destroys the blocking scheme. Still ends up being, I think, a 7 or 8 yard gain. Let's move on to some play action concepts, because this is not always run plays. Can't be. You have to show the same look and run or pass plays off of it. And we know the Lions do an exceptional job of making run and pass plays look similar, look the same. So that was my intention with this video, is to kind of illustrate that. You get the same motion with the wide receiver, late motion, and you get this boot or play action that takes advantage of something that Jared Goff does really well. These are going to be short gains on these play action concepts, to be honest with you. Again, you're facing the Eagles in week 1 in a difficult game where the Lions, I thought, fought well and showed what they were going to be capable of later in the year. But the Eagles defense, their DBs are super fast, super aggressive. Washington will correctly get a D lineman in the C gap here in a moment when you get the end zone angle. There's just so much attention paid to Amon-Ra St. Brown here by the Mike linebacker. It's possibly a Tampa 2 here. I can't remember this one, to be honest with you. But it ends up allowing the running back to be wide open underneath. It's not a Tampa 2. That linebacker ended up just giving so much attention to Amon-Ra St. Brown. You'll get the end zone angle here. But watch 51 and 55 when St. Brown comes down in his motion. Watch him point, and they get a defender in this gap, which is where the Jill portion of the blocking scheme would take place if it was a run play. I'll draw it up one more time. With the tight end, basing out that D end, essentially trying to expand him or not let him condense the inside C gap. And then as you base him out, then the wide receiver would presumably insert in and go get the front side inside linebacker or maybe a Mike backer. And what Washington's adjustment is, go ahead and just move the D-line over, get a D lineman in that gap, clog up that C gap, make the release there different, make the blocking scheme different. So that's just one of the things you got to be able to do as an inside linebacker is adjust people, move them over. There's clearly a lot of facets to the Lions run game that I haven't covered here in this video. Some I have covered in 3 or 4 other videos, to be honest with you, about formations, about plays. I'd love to get a video done about Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's so durable and talented. And again, I think it speaks to what they ask the players on offense to do, that Amon-Ra St. Brown is the guy that you see in most of these clips who's being used as, Reynolds sometimes is being used as a lead blocker, but it speaks to what they ask of the football players there, how they expect them to buy in to the run game, to the commitment to the run game, which could then open up the play action pass, which it certainly did a great job of in 2022, and they're banking on it doing so in 2023. You guys let me know what you think of the video in the comments section. If you haven't checked out my Lions content already, I've got a significant number of Lions videos, and if you have any other ideas, I do have another video in the works about Kaminsky, the D-end, who I just think is incredible, D-tackle, D-end hybrid, I guess, a guy who I think is incredibly underrated across the NFL spectrum. Amon-Ra St. Brown film study video hopefully comes out before June 15th, but I have so many other projects I'm working on. In any case, let me know what you think of the video, what you think of my breakdown of the Jill concept, whether it's a zone, whether it's a gap scheme concept, whether it's on the backside of a stretch concept, like the one play I showed you against the Eagles. The Jill is something I'm familiar with from an offense that I had a little bit of experience with in high school, but it's utilized at the college level and the NFL level still to this day, don't get me wrong, but it's something I think a lot of NFL fans maybe haven't been exposed to or at least haven't had someone explain it, so that's what I try to do in this video. Appreciate you guys' time. If you think other Lions fans would appreciate this video and enjoy the content and the commentary, please consider grabbing a link and sharing the video link out on social media to help this video get more reach.